Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
If you're still looking for seats, don't be shy. We have some up front, and there are some seats right over. Solavs, raise your arms and point to the open seats. Wow, there are a lot more Solavs than I thought were here, but that's awesome. What a truly joyous and beautiful Shabbat to come together to celebrate, for brothers and sisters to dwell together. We begin this morning. Whew. A little too much Manischewitz at dinner, my apologies. We begin this evening with Psalm 133, with a melody that will be familiar to many of you, written by our beloved cantor Nalawai of blessed memory. The words can be found on page 128, but please join with us and with the choir. Thank you. Bertold Auerbach said that music washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. This is a truth that our ancestors understood well. When we gather on Shabbat, our prayers come to life through the melodies that we use to interpret and understand them. The Chazan serves as an intermediary of sorts between the heavenly and the earthly realms. They serve as our shaliach, or in this case, our shlicha, as our shlichat tzibor, our emissary to the heavenly realms, taking our prayers and presenting them to the Holy One. When they sing or chant, it should feel as though they are expressing what our soul yearns to say. They guide us through the service, not only helping us wash away the dust of everyday life, but to replace it with the beautiful glow of Shabbat, enabling us to experience what it means to Shabbat vayinafash, to rest our bodies and refresh our souls. A great Chazan, however, is more than an emissary. They are our partner. They help carry our burdens. They lift up our joy. They walk with us as we go through our daily life. And we are blessed today to be able to formally consecrate our relationship with Chazan Alexandra Kurland. And it is a joy to share this bima with her and with her Chazan and teacher, Cantor Richard Cohn, as well as her dear friend and the cantor of Or Rishon, Cantor Ben Harris, as well as our cantor emerita, Julie Steinberg, and our president, Jay Chenier. And it is always a joy to be accompanied by the B'nai Israel Choir and our musicians, who are so beautifully led by Lou Ann Higgs. So tonight we invite you, as we do every single Shabbat, to join us. Join us in the singing and the reading and the Hebrew and in the English, or simply allow the music and the words we offer to wash away the dust of everyday life. We continue on page 134.
הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבי בה, נהרות ימחאוך, יחד הרים ירננו, נהרות ימחאוך, יחד הרים ירננו.
So a few weeks ago, during Ask the Rabbi, somebody asked, what is the difference between what a rabbi does and what a cantor does? And I explained that the rabbi's job is to announce the page numbers. So here I am. We continue with Lecha Dodi on page 138, and we'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Shabbat Tfilah Le'Achovi Zikrat Hala Tzemei Shabbat Le'Chala Le'Achovi Zikrat Hala Tzemei Shabbat Le'Chala
One of the difficult things about being clergy is that when you begin your studies, you have absolutely no idea where you're going to end up. And that's hard because, believe it or not, clergy has family just like everybody else. And it's hard sometimes to live far away from them when we find that place that calls to us. And so it's a pleasure to be able to have Cantor Curlin's family here with us tonight, to be able to celebrate this important moment in her life and in ours. And it's my pleasure to invite up her family, in particular PK, Bruce, Jeff, Suzanne, Dan, and Chime, to join us on the bima and to do us the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles. But first, as they come up, we begin with Shalom Aleichem, which can be found on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon.
light and truth,
Creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
We rise for the Baruch on page 146. An invitation by Mary Oliver. Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your busy and very important day? For the goldfinches that have gathered in a field of thistles, for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest note or the lowest, or the most expressive of mirth, or the most tender.
Their strong, blunt beaks drink the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for sheer delight and gratitude. Believe us, they say. It is a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim.
בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. יהי חיינו לאורך ימינו ובהנהגי יומם ולילה את אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו la
We continue together with the Ve'ahavta on a page in our prayer book,
154.
154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
It's my pleasure to invite up our youth choir to join us on the bima. And as they are coming up here, please join me in the reading on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Yasher Koach. That was beautiful. I am a firm believer that we are instruments of God, that when we use our hands to build people up, to work for justice, to create shelter or sanctuary, we are doing holy and sacred work. That when we pray to God and ask for things, we are also reminding ourselves that we need to be partners with God in building the things that we ask for. When we pray for the Hashkivenu, we are praying for a Sukkot Shalom. But how can we ask God to provide a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace for us, if we are not also willing to create a shelter of peace for those who are most vulnerable in our society? So as we sing the Hashkivenu, let's hold in our hearts all the people in our country and in our world who are in need of shelter, who are in need of sanctuary, who are in need of the work of our hands to create a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace for all of them, as well as for ourselves. We continue on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ki el shomreinu umatzilenu ata Ki el melech hanun v'rachum ata Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ushmor tzeitzenu uvoinu l'chaim l'shalom Ushmor tzeitzenu uvoinu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Baruch atah Adonai Malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu
Yerushalayim.
Continue on page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם.
It's my pleasure to invite up all of our religious school students who are with us tonight to come and do us the honor of joining us on the bima to lead us in the tefillah, which begins on page 164. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh hakol, V'zocher hasdei avot v'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, עזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד. הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, לעשות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue praying privately from page 172 through 180, either standing or sitting, as is your custom.
I want to offer a meditation on our personal prayers this evening, inspired by the words on page 171. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. This week we celebrate receiving the commandments at Sinai, and we are taught that all of us were present across all realms of time and space. Revelation is ongoing within us and around us. מקומך נעלה ונעלם, ועונה לא אמצעך, כבודך מלא עולם. יונה אמצעך, מקומך נעלם ונעלם, ועונה לא אמצעך, כבודך מלא עולם. דרשתי קרבתך בכל ליבי, קראתיך ובצאתי לקראתי מצאתי.
Prayer is a powerful tool. It's not only a way for us to speak with our Creator, but it's also a way to open up our hearts, to inspire us to become that which we pray for. When we pray for someone to be healed, it should also inspire us to engage in the act of healing. Now, most of us, even in a synagogue, are not doctors or nurses. Thank you for the 2 people who understood that joke. But we can all be instruments of healing. Because when we are alone, or we are scared, or we are suffering, it helps to have someone sit with us, or perhaps someone to drive us to the appointment that we can't get to by ourselves. Somebody who might bring over a meal, or send us a note to remind us that we're in their hearts and in their thoughts, and that we're not as alone as we may think. So as we offer the Mishaberach Lecholim, a prayer for healing for those who are ill, let's take a moment and think about the people in our lives who are in need of a refuah shlema, a healing of body and a healing of spirit, and ask ourselves, what can we do between this Shabbat and next to reach out to them, to offer them comfort, to offer them hope, to offer them help, or offer them healing. Please join us on page 371.
Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Mi sheberach avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer. Bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as
Shabbat Shalom. The relationship between clergy and their congregation is a covenantal relationship, not unlike a marriage. When a congregation hires a rabbi or a cantor, we're not just hiring someone to do a job. We are looking for a shidduch, a match, someone who shares our dreams and our values, someone who wants to put down their roots with us, someone who will be part of our holy days and life cycle events for decades, someone who is with us day in and day out, for better and for worse. We are looking for someone who will care about us and who we will care about as well. When we met Cantor Curlin, we knew that we had found a very good match. And while she has only been with us for a few months, she already feels like she is part of our B'nai Israel family. It is fitting that we're consecrating the sacred relationship on this Shabbat, not because it's February 14th, but because it is Shabbat Yitro. And when we chant this week's Torah portion, we are supposed to see ourselves as though we are standing at Sinai, a time when each of us, or rather all of us, stood together as a community with our hearts all directed to the same purpose at the same moment and with the same intentionality. It was a shared experience so powerful that it forever transformed who we are as a people. The rabbis teach us that what happened at Sinai was essentially a marriage between God and the Jewish people. In fact, one midrash goes so far as to say that Mount Sinai was held over the Israelites like a chuppah, like a wedding canopy. I love this metaphor because it reminds us that there is a difference between a contract and a covenant. While in both a contract and a covenant, there are responsibilities that each party must engage in a covenant, we acknowledge the intentionality in which we enter that agreement. It should be with affection and a sense of sacred responsibility, as well as an openness that we may be transformed by this relationship. That is why when a congregation engages a member of the clergy, we do not view it as a contractual relationship. It is a sacred covenant. So tonight, we are blessed to be able to consecrate our sacred partnership with Cantor Curlin as we formally install her as the cantor of Congregation B'nai Israel. And like the covenant our people entered into at Mount Sinai, our entire community will be part of this sacred moment. But first, it is my pleasure to introduce our special guest, Cantor Richard Cohn. Cantor Cohn's very impressive bio can be found in our program. But what I want to highlight is that he has also been a cantor who has raised up and taught many other cantors. His impact has had a far-reaching effect on synagogues across the country, and our congregation in particular, because Cantor Cohn was both Cantor Curlin's cantor growing up, as well as her teacher at HUC JAR's Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music. Could that school have a longer title? I want you to know everything I'm about to say came from your students, so you may need this. I have been told by Cantor Curlin that what Cantor Cohn has modeled for her is what a cantor should always strive to be. Someone who displays integrity in all things: scholarship, musicianship, preparation, interpersonal relationships. A cantor should be a person who has a sense of humor and is the embodiment of true joy. A cantor always shows respect for people of all ages and all stages of their lives. And a cantor believes that every voice has something to contribute. How lucky are we that this is the model of cantor that Cantor Curlin grew up with. It is a pleasure to share this bima on this Shabbat with Cantor Richard Cohn.
Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom. Ooh, that felt good. Thank you. It's kind of a surround sound. Shabbat Shalom. I see you're okay. I'm just seeing where everybody is here. I promise I'll bring us all in. So, it is really a great, great privilege to join Congregation B'nai Israel in this heartfelt affirmation of Cantor Curlin's service to your community. It's my first visit to Sacramento, and it couldn't be for a more wonderful purpose. I want to thank Rabbi Alfie for welcoming me so warmly as a partner in this process. You are a gem. It's also very meaningful for me to remember with fondness Cantor Carl Nalwai Jr., whom I had the pleasure of knowing during the prime of his career as your chazan. What a gifted, sweet singer and creative dynamo he was in his relationship with your wonderful choir and in the larger Jewish music world. And it's a delight to be here for the first time with your cantor emerita, Julie Steinberg, who has served this congregation with honor and distinction, carrying forward the spirit of the cantorate and sustaining you for many, many dedicated years. I'm so honored to be collaborating myself with your amazing choir, oh my goodness, and with Luann and Chris, there he is, okay. Bountiful musical resources all around, and it's a special pleasure to reconnect with the very gifted cantor Ben Harris, who shares the musical bema tonight with Cantor Kurland and me. Also, I want to acknowledge with appreciation Judy Emick Leatherwood, who, in her role as music committee chair, along with all of her supportive circle, truly helped bring the congregation's music to life. Jay, you've got an amazing place here. And I want to include all of B'nai Israel's programmatic and administrative leadership in that praise. I'm very grateful to be among all of you in celebration tonight. Okay, so you want to hear about Cantor Kurland's younger years? She's still really young, but I knew her at an extremely young age, and we go back a long time. It's hard for me to even remember the before days. She, her brother Dan is out here somewhere. There is Dan. And their family have been a treasured part of my life since their childhood. I can testify firsthand that your new cantor has always been a warm and effervescent presence, with a special light in her eyes and her being. I was telling the choir yesterday that Alex sang in my children's choir, and basically, she's the same person. It's true. Her qualities of kindness and keen awareness are blended into a compassionate and uplifting demeanor perfectly suited to her identity as a caring clergy person. Her enthusiasm and intentionality shine through in every dimension of her work. Cantor Kurland's expressive and vocally radiant singing lifts hearts and souls as she imparts her artistry to a wide range of repertory. She sings with you and among you, while also lending her interpretive skills to cantorial song that inspires and comforts, informs, and interprets. She embodies the finest characteristics of the emerging cantorate. All of you emerging cantors everywhere. And it's an honor for me to be her colleague. Alex, when you began singing in rehearsal last night, I was really moved. I'm feeling that again tonight. In every encounter with you and in accompanying you along our shared path, I am deeply blessed. Okay, you heard it. This week's Torah portion is Yitro. And it's most famous for, and some other things, yes. Okay. For more on the Ten Commandments, tomorrow morning, we shall hear them. This week's Torah and Haftarah portions bear in interesting ways on cantorial identity in relationship to a spiritual community such as this. The overall theme is revelation. How do we experience that which lies within and beyond in the dimensions of this life? We usually think of revelation in terms of text and teaching of mitzvot and theological insight. What if revelation is also accessible through sound, through voice, through music? The Hasidic master, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, lends additional insight into this possibility. Teaching on the opening passages of our parashah, Levi Yitzchak understands Sinai as representing the place where all of Torah, the totality of divine speech, originated. He distinguishes between kol, voice, undifferentiated divine sound, not yet articulated into consonants, vowels, words, concepts, and dibur, speech, that is sonically defined into language and conveys manifest content. It's speech, of course, that a cantor and we as a community transform into musical song, sourced in the inchoate but ultimately all-inclusive kol, the originating voice of divine presence. The process is always moving from kol to dibur, from potential to realization. Levi Yitzchak says that it's possible for a person to believe that our very breath and the words that emerge from our mouths arise from the vital energy of the Creator, originating in the primordial soul sound and breathed by us into being. He teaches that the Spirit of God is speaking through us, transformed from kol, intuitive sound, to dibur, comprehensible speech. Torah, as we apprehend it, is God's speech. And we embody and reveal that speech in our own. We connect speech to voice and voice to thought, to the source of spiritual and divine vitality, allowing manifold textures of meaning to arise from divine revelation. In cantorial song and congregational melody, the essence of that transmission becomes known in body, heart, mind, spirit. Music provides the interpretive means for our souls to hear and understand. How miraculous. In that very sense, Cantor Kurland's role is to guide this congregation in sacred encounter through singing and through music in its full domain. Turning to this week's Haftarah, we find the famous passage from the prophet Isaiah, best known by its trifold repetition, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot, holy, holy, holy is Adonai of hosts. As Isaiah experiences a personal theophany resonant with our communal revelation at Sinai, he articulates the origins of his prophetic calling, describing a vision of God attended by angelic presences whom he envisions calling out to one another, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. The whole earth is filled with God's presence. Isaiah experiences being shaken to his core, as if the temple itself is being rocked at its foundation, his own soul trembling at its root. He's fearful that he and his people have not lived, have not exercised their speech in a way that merits receiving this revelation of the eternal. Suddenly, one of the attending angels plucks a hot coal from the divine altar and touches it to Isaiah's lips, forgiving his missteps and purifying his speech. Isaiah then hears a summoning voice. Whom will I send? And who will go for us? In this moment of decision, Isaiah declares, Hineni, Here I am. Send me. Each of us has a calling, a way to contribute to the greater mission of manifesting righteousness, justice, and goodness. Cantor Kurland has responded to her calling by committing herself to Jewish leadership and by giving her voice to prayer, to learning, to pastoral attentiveness, to celebration, and to remembrance. It is that commitment expressed in her covenantal relationship with Congregation B'nai Israel that we now affirm. Very soon, we'll turn to Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing, with which we consecrate moments of special sanctity. While Rabbi Alfie and I will confer the ancient words upon Cantor Kurland, it is you, her congregants, who will seal each part of the blessing with speech of your own. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Thus may it be, in harmony with the Holy One. It is your words, and tonight it will be your singing that makes this blessing complete and invests it with the spiritual power of this place and with every soul for whom it has ever been or will ever be home. So, don't tell Cantor Kurland. But we're going to rehearse a little bit our singing, okay? So here's how it goes. It's a little bit of a song without words. Kind of makes me think about Kol and Dibur. First you start with Kol, which is just the spiritual sound, and then you go to the words, and then you bring the words into your whole being. So the melody, you have to remember this for a little while, goes like this. Yai, nai, yai, nai, nai, yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, yai, nai, 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 and then there are words. Ken yehi ratzon. Let's work that part out at the end. It goes, Ken yehi ratzon. Ooh, I'm feeling that blessing. Okay, what was that again? Ken yehi ratzon. I know you thought that first part was long, but it's not really. It's yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, yai, nai, 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 Ken yehi ratzon. Yai, nai, yai, nai, nai, yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, yai, nai, 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 Ken yehi ratzon. Later, when we're doing that, when you're singing the yai, nai, 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 bring a prayer to it, bring an intention, bring a vision. Bring your own relationship with the holy. Offer it as a blessing to Cantor Kurland. Okay. We're going to continue now with the installation ritual, which you may find in your pamphlet.
Please rise. Cantor Kurland, would you mind giving me your talit? So this is lovely, and I understand your parents gave this to you at your bat mitzvah. And on that day, I am sure that you were told that a talit symbolizes the responsibilities of adulthood, that they rest on our shoulders like a hug, strengthening us as we go into the day, reminding us that responsibilities are an honor and not a burden. And this has served you quite well. However, today, you take on a new responsibility, a little heavier than what sits on a 13-year-old's shoulders. This talit was made for you as a gift from our congregation. But the words on this talit are a reminder of how you should embrace the responsibilities that you were being given. Would you like to read what's on here?
It says, Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
I pray that each day that you put this upon your shoulders, you find a reason to say Shehechianu. That every day that you come into this sacred space feels like a Shehechianu moment, a moment that you are grateful to be a part of. No, you can't. Let's do this. Chime in, Alex. Nice and tall, guys. You have to go really tall. No, because Cantor comes under here. Oh, no, you guys are doing this all wrong. Okay. Here, you stand up front. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, God of... Higher so they could... There we go. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, God of our ancestors, at the sacred moment, Congregation B'nai Israel rejoices in welcoming Cantor Alexandra Kurland as our Chazan. May she help us uphold our sacred mission of building lives enriched by our commitment to Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Chasadim, to study, worship, and acts of loving kindness.
Teach our congregation the sweetness of the Hebrew language and instill the love of Torah in our minds and souls. May we live the Jewish life based on values, ethics, and the love of Am Yisrael, to Jewish people, and a sense of obligation to repair the world. Encourage the children of our congregation to be true to themselves, to bring something unique and new to our world, and to become active members of the sacred community. Teach us the ways of Torah with kindness and respect.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, God of our ancestors, guide me as I strive to teach, encourage, and inspire our sacred community.
As we celebrate and as we grieve, as we rejoice at weddings and as we accompany the bereaved, as we bring our children into the covenant and as we search and yearn to understand, guide us, embrace us, and support us. Be my partner in the sacred work of Rabbi and Cantor.
Join us as we create a partnership of mutual support. May we urge one another to stretch and grow and experience and create. May we enjoy a sacred synergy of creativity and learning. We strive daily to become Klei Kodesh, holy vessels filled with the love of God, inspired by the wisdom of Torah, and dedicated to serving our people.
Cantor, be our spiritual guide, comfort, teacher, and friend.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, God of our ancestors, guide me in ways of compassion, empathy, and discernment as I embrace the people of this holy community.
Sing with us that melody within, so we may join together in longing, joy, and prayer. We
Eloheinu velohe avotenu ve'imotenu, God of our ancestors, may my heart and soul feel the music of your universe, that I may be a light.
Cantor Curlin, join me. Leading, teaching, and nurturing a congregation is an awesome and profound obligation. Join me so that we may be strong, constant, and determined in our sacred work. May we find the melodies and the words to inspire, to teach, and urge our people to live lives of meaning and intention.
Eloheinu velohe avotenu ve'imotenu, God of our ancestors, grant me wisdom that I may become a leader of this community, gentle and strong, courageous and patient. As I enter into this Brit Kodesh, this sacred partnership, may my steps be firm and my heart steadfast to the mission of our people.
May the Holy One bless you and keep you. May God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God's presence dwell within you and around you and grant you peace.
Semen tovu, muscle tovu, semen tovu, semen tovu, muscle tovu, semen tovu, muscle tovu, semen tovu. Yehelanu, 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 Kol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Kol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Kol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Kol Yisrael.
So normally, we don't let the cantors talk. But I think I'm outnumbered tonight. So take it away.
One Thursday, a few weeks before her bat mitzvah, Eve came in and offered me a paper bag overflowing with persimmons. She told me they were from her family's trees and handed them to me with a casual smile. Now, for my Sacramento people in the room, this is not noteworthy. Sharing the bounty when one's trees are full with fruit is a regular occurrence. Citrus, stone fruit, apples, pears. It's another way that we know in which season we find ourselves. But for my Chicago folks, or friends who have traveled from other parts of the world, freely sharing fruit is likely not something you experience every day. I reflected on how it felt to receive freshly picked fruit, which has happened many times since that day in my office with Eve. When people ask me what it's like to live in California, it's moments like these that stand out as different from what I'm used to. If I'm being honest, I'm still adjusting to the flow of the seasons and the cultural nuances of California compared with the Midwest or the East Coast. But at this time of year, the Meyer lemons and the oranges, they feel relevant. Yesterday, on our Jewish calendar, we celebrated Tu B'Shvat, also known as the New Year for trees. In chatting with our Kulanu students during school on Sunday, they shared their ideas on what trees contribute to our lives. Protection, shade, fruit, oxygen, something to climb, allergies. So here in the city of trees, at this particular time of the year, the trees are speaking and I am listening. While Tu B'Shvat is discussed in the Talmud, the 16th century Kabbalists took great interest in the observance, using their interpretations of the mystical world to create an embodied ritual, a Seder. Their Seder was called Pri Eitz Hadar and was described as a tikkun, like tikkun olam, the repairing of the world. By engaging with this ritual, by blessing and consuming fruit, nuts, and wine, studying texts, exploring the themes and symbols of growth, awakening, and abundance, an individual could work towards a sort of repair within their greater world. As taught by Shoshana Guggenheim and Stephanie Friedman, who compiled ancient and modern resources for a Tu B'Shvat Seder, the opportunity for many blessings presented itself through the tikkun, raising the Seder to greater mystical heights for the Kabbalists, who believed blessings were a direct link between people's positive intentions and the healing of the earth. The more blessing they recited, the greater repair that would take place in the world. In their Seder, the Kabbalists lift up a few teachings that felt timely to me on this Shabbat of my installation as cantor of Congregation B'nai Israel. In the future, a person will have to account for everything that his eyes saw and he did not eat. The reason is that whoever enjoys produce in this world without pronouncing a blessing is called a robber. So the first part of this teaching is essentially saying, don't allow my eyes to be bigger than my stomach. In our excitement and our ever-expanding access to more, we often feel like we don't have enough. That's the reason, I think, why sharing the fruits of our trees moves me. My tree has given me what I need, and it has also given me an opportunity to share that abundance with others. So who are the others? Anyone in one's greater community. In addition to nourishing us, trees offer us a chance to connect with each other, sharing in an act of physical and spiritual satisfaction. Becoming part of the Congregation B'nai Israel community has already given me abundant nourishment. From my first conversation with the search committee, from my first meeting with Rabbi Alfie, I knew that CBI was driven by a love of community, Jewish tradition, and tikkun olam, and that I would be blessed to lead and love this sacred congregation. It has been a delight to make our new home here and to feel embraced so fully by this thoughtful and engaged community. Our tradition values each of us as learners throughout our lives, bringing our own deep wisdom to the spaces where we learn and teach. I imagine this expansiveness like the branches of a tree, reaching ever further towards holiness as we reach towards each other. Thank you for sharing the fruit of your trees, trusting me with your hearts, and continuing to grow with me. And thank you for being here tonight. It's truly overwhelming. Those of you in this room and those of you on the live stream as well. The gorgeous program in your hand lists many individuals who contributed to this glorious weekend celebration, and I want to lift up just a handful. Thank you to the Cantorial Search Committee for bringing me here, for the Installation Committee for organizing this weekend, to the choir, to my classmate and friend, Cantor Ben Harris, and to our very own Chris Froh. I'm honored that Cantor Cohn, my childhood cantor and mentor, is able to be with us this weekend amidst a full and demanding schedule. You have been present at nearly every one of my life cycle events. Perhaps only my parents have you beat. And Dan, my dear brother. Thank you, CBI team, who approach their days here in this building with joy. Lauren, Pam, Savannah, Dean, Adam, Ryan, Letitia, Marlene, Dominique, Joe, and Amy. Thank you to Cantor Steinberg, who so graciously shared her love for this place with me from the very beginning. To Judy and Luann, for their support and excitement for all the ways music can enhance and uplift our lives in this building and beyond. And working alongside our fantastic board of trustees, in particular with President Jay Chenier, has been a generative and inspiring space already in these few months. And to Rabbi Mona Alfie, my partner in thought, in dreaming, and in building, I am grateful our paths have brought us together. Working with you feels like a tikkun for the parts of myself that needed attention and repair, and I'm so proud to lead alongside you. And to those who keep me rooted, sorry, I had to. Particularly those who have traveled to be here today, but all of you who daily support me, thank you. Your presence is everything. Finally, I am blessed to walk in this life alongside Chime, a true and brilliant light who fills my days with laughter, joy, and love. You help me align the disparate pieces of myself into a full and integrated soul. Speaking of blessing, I can't forget the second part of my earlier teaching. Whoever enjoys produce in this world without pronouncing a blessing is called a robber. What a statement! But robbing from whom? The text implies that without a blessing, without acknowledging the act that God plays in the miracle of a sweet, ripe fruit coming into our hands, we take something from our existence and our awareness in the world. I appreciate the opportunity to step outside of myself, a reminder of how our place on this earth is connected to everything around us. The Seder goes on to teach, in order to effect this tikkun, it is fitting for us to eat all kinds of fruit on this very day and bless them with this intention, for a mitzvah is best when performed at the proper time. In a little while, we'll enjoy fruits and other abundant treats together. But first, I invite us to share in a blessing together the words of Shehechianu, which I feel on my shoulders. Recognizing the particular moment in which we find ourselves. Blessed is Adonai for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this season.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to the 46 households that are streaming with us right now. We also have a few guests that I wanted to say thank you for joining us tonight. One is Tari from Area Congregations Together, one of our partners on the social justice scene. Rabbi Ben Herman from Mosaic Law, Cantor Noah Rachel's from Mosaic Law as well. Thank you, Cantor Curlin, for all the thank yous. But I got a couple shout outs I want to do. First of all, Rabbi, thank you as always. Nice job on the page numbers. Appreciate it. Cantor. How to do that? I just been waiting all night for that. But thank you. To the choir, thank you. I think the one thing you didn't say was around the children's choir, which is wonderful. Thank you. Our kids are great. Let's do that. A few announcements. Tomorrow morning starts at 10 o'clock. It's usually 10:30, but we have a lot to do. Please join the wonderful Oneg following services. With a delicious assortment of treats hosted by the CBI community. Many thanks to all of the congregants that contributed. There is note that there is no weekly Torah study session tomorrow morning, but we do hope that you'll all join us tomorrow with special guest Cantor Cohn for an inspiring Shabbat morning service. A couple things. Next Friday, February 21st, is our annual Women of B'nai Israel Shabbat, Reproductive Rights Shabbat. All members of the WIBI are encouraged to attend for a blessing by the clergy on the Bima. We will also be learning about the importance
of expanding and protecting reproductive right and access. I saw you had a button on that as well. So we'll be honoring Cantor Curlin again with that. The CBI Membership Committee warmly invites all new and newish members to the new member morning mixer on Sunday, March 2nd. It's a wonderful morning, and it's a place where you learn quite a bit about who we are and have a chance to ask questions as well. Mark your calendars for CBI's Wicked Purim Carnival on Sunday, March 9th, and the Purim celebration on Thursday, March 13th. Two things that are happening here, and I want to get through this, so I had told people I was going to give them time, but I'm going to just do it myself. One is the 26th Annual Sacramento Jewish Film Festival is just a week away. It's a wonderful few days of films, of Jewish films, and they also need some volunteers. So if you're interested, Kevin, who should they talk to? Stand up and show your face if they want, and also Alice. So that's happening. And then very, very important, we talked about this actually about a month ago, the U.S. Reform Movement is running a powerful campaign for the World Zionist Congress 2025 election that needs your voice and your vote. This is where we have an opportunity to weigh in on what happens in Israel, and never been more important than it is these days. The World Zionist Congress is a representative body for diaspora Jewish communities. It meets every 5 years and controls about $1 billion in budget that impacts religious pluralism, democracy, more in Israel.
I also want to point out, if we get enough votes, you'll be sending, our congregation will be sending Jennifer Kaufman and myself to Israel to vote. So we really need to get out the vote, otherwise you're stuck with us here.
But you will be coming back either way.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
The election will take place on March 10th through May 4th, and it's going to be very simple. We have a few people, Marianne and Sharon Rogoff, who are leading the campaign along with the rabbi, and so that's going to be very important. We have two things that we do every week. We're going to make them a little bit different here. One is, rather than introduce all of our board members or committee chairs, if I could ask you all to stand just to be recognized, that would be great. We run on volunteers. I say this every week. These are the folks that are making so much happen on an ongoing basis. Thank you for doing it. So thank you. The other thing people I wanted to recognize are all those who made tonight and are making tomorrow morning and tomorrow night happen. Could I get the committee to stand and be recognized as well, who have been working on these efforts? This doesn't just happen on its own. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. The other thing that we do every week is, when we have a bar mitzvah, we always ask the young person to introduce their families. I see no reason not to do that. Do we have a mic? Where's the mic?
I don't know.
Oh. So we ask all the family to stand. In front or out of town friends, stand, and Cantor Curlin will come and introduce you.
If you traveled here for this very moment. So this is the row of my BJBE friends. Doris and Joe, Karen, Barb, and Rick. Thank you for being here. You guys gotta stand, I'm sorry. My dad and Suzanne. My mom and Bruce. Oh, sorry. This is my dad, Jeff. How'd I do? Well, because then they're going to call you Mom, right? So this is my mom, PK, and Bruce, my brother, Dan. Dan wins the award for farthest journey to be here this weekend. Dan came from Vienna. My beloved, Chime. And Malka, who came from Phoenix. And Bina is running around. Okay, great. Thank you all. Now we'll go to this section. Okay. These are my friends. Alyssa, Tannen, Jill, Brian, Toby, Jamie, Amy, and Bob, who traveled from Illinois, Minnesota, Massachusetts, and New York. Did I get everybody? Okay, great. Did I get everybody?
Welcome all. Just one more thing that I wanted to say is, I participated in the search committee for a new cantor, and when we interviewed Cantor Kurland, we had never seen someone who could exude warmth through a Zoom phone call as much as she could. And we knew immediately this was a person that we wanted for the long term. And so, Cantor Kurland, it's such a pleasure to be here and to have participated in that. We made such a great choice, and thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
I'd like to invite up all of our students who are with us today to come join us on the bima and to do us the honor of leading us in the Aleinu. The Aleinu can be found on the bottom half of page 586. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gidula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומשה ביקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד עמק מלכנו אפס זולתו כך כתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Please be seated.
Our thoughts now turn to loved ones who are no longer with us. And with sadness, we recall the recent passing of Lois Elvira Hunt, the beloved mother of Tim Schooley, beloved mother-in-law of Sue Schooley, beloved grandmother of Sam and Max Schooley. Also with sadness, we recall the recent passing of Janice Smith, the beloved wife of Bob Smith, beloved mother of Rachel Smith and Aaron Doering, beloved mother-in-law of Sean Doering, and beloved sister of Howard and Harlan Karnofsky, and beloved grandmother of James and Johnny Doering, and a beloved aunt of Jordan and Dara Karnofsky. May their memories forever be a blessing. We also recall loved ones who have passed away at this time in years past. We remember Betsy Frida Katz Ackerman, Eddie Allen, Greg Bender, John Biven, Rhea Crane Blackman, Xiao Jen Chang, Leon David, Rabbi Israel Dressner, Faye Edel, Diane Feldman, David Ferguson, Sandra Freifeld, John Gaines, Thelma Neft Geller, Elaine Gilbert, Craig Gisser, Leah Godofsky, Carla Guicki, Dave Helseth, Sam Herman, Josephine Holmes, Marvin Holzer, Michael Josephson, Albert Kaufman, Charlie Klein, Gertrude Kraus, Max Lager, Roy Levitt, Gail Janice Levine, Marion Marshall, Natalie McCarthy, Betty Mendenhall, Susan Myers, Sylvia Millman, Esther DiMiara, Lillian Newberger, Annie Opper, Casey Opper, Dolores Perry, Howard Potash, Dale Rabinovitz, Beatrice Reamer, Esther Ribler, Jeremy Rimmer, Libby Rudnick, Elliot Sanders, Anita Sarin, Anna Silver, John Smith, Julia Oliveira Spencer, Esther Stein, Wendy Ann Stitt, Harold B. Weinberg, Daniel David Weinstein, Marge Williams, Glenna Weissman, Bernard Zalkind, and David Zonderman. If there are any names that anyone would like to add to the Kaddish list tonight, please feel free to call out those names when my gaze meets yours. I'd like to invite those who are saying Kaddish for a loved one to please rise. And if the congregation can please join me in these words of comfort. Hamakom yenechem etchem betok sha'ar avlei Zion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We rise to offer comfort to those who grieve as we continue together on page 598. Yitkadav yitkadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei techol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mebarach le'olam u'mei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu le'elam min kol birchata v'yishirata Tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'marmav, u'yasei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say,
We'll close with a prayer for peace. Ose shalom. should have brought my bat mitzvah kiddush cup. It's the one thing I forgot.
I can't believe you forgot that. We conclude the service with the Kiddush and the Motzi so that immediately upon ending services, we could go and eat to our heart's delight without feeling like we have been robbers. Cantor? Do you like the big girl cup? Cantor? Cantor?
Cantor.
Something in my throat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushonu b'mitzvotav v'rotzo b'onu, v'shabbat kodsho v'yarovo v'rotzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereishit, ki hu yom tehilah le'mikroi kodesh, zecher yetziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'amata, v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat koshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchatanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
You could almost feel the cracking of the seal on that.
Ooh, that's a challah.
So, as many of you know, since COVID, we have been using a stunt challah on Shabbat for the purpose of blessing with the real challah being sliced for us in the social hall. But on this occasion, it merits something more than a stunt challah. So this is an actual edible challah for anybody who wants to come and grab. It's real. And it's who would like to grab a chunk afterwards. Actually, you know what? Let's go old school, pre-COVID. Feel free to come on up. Anybody who wants to come, and feel free to touch anyone who's touching someone who's touching someone who's touching the challah. Just make sure you get consent.